All right, I'm just waiting to make sure that I'm live here. Looks like it's loading. If you're watching me load, I apologize. All right. Hi, my name is Billie Tadros. I'm a poet and a professor in the Department of English and Theater at the University of Scranton in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I live with my wife, Brooke, and our two dogs, Mackenzie and Yogi. So first, thank you to Zeke Jarvis and Eureka Literary Magazine for inviting me to take part in this event to benefit the Midwest Food Bank. And thank you to all of you for being here, wherever here is that you are. I hope you're doing and staying well. I'll be reading a few poems tonight from my book, Was Body, whose official release date with Indolent Books is June 1st. The book is available for pre-order now. You can find it on Amazon and elsewhere. I'm still working on getting postage and mailers here in my home office so I can mail signed copies. But if that's something that interests you, you can also find me at www.billiertadros.com, which is linked in the transcript provided for this reading in the Facebook post. I'll be with you for just under 10 minutes here. And I'm going to start by reading a poem titled Cellar Door, Theme and Variations, which first appeared in Eureka Literary Magazine. There are a few theme and variations poems in the book, and they all start with a title phrase. So in this case, Cellar Door, which is widely regarded as the most sonically beautiful phrase in the English language. And then the poems in this series move from line to line and section to section homophonically, so echoing and transposing the sounds in the title phrase. So this is Cellar Door, Theme and Variations, and it's in 6 very short sections. Cellar Door, Theme and Variations. 1. I sell her dollar, jarred. We are both afraid of botulism. 2. Seal or adorn, the jar is still just a jar. Both frightened and compelled by containment, we draw each other inside our little glass walls. 3. Fission, sell ardor. So moved to fuse, we split. Fisher. 4. She paints her cell door green, leaves it ajar. 5. She's seldom jarred. Swelter soars. 6. Swell. Terser. Soar. I'll read one more of these theme and variation poems. This next one's called Lighter Fluid, Theme and Variations, in 5 very short sections, and this one first appeared in The Boiler. Lighter Fluid, Theme and Variations. 1. Light or flutes, her cylinders. What illumines a votive? 2. Lied or fluent, as she told me about half-life, burn time. 3. Lie tore flumes, we channel, we try, we tie, we cleanse. 4. Like airfoils cutting air, there's fireflight curved. 5. Like her falls I've lost, what is ignition? So much of the book I've described as a kind of elegy. It's grieving the loss of a romance, but as the primary speaker of these poems is grieving, she's realizing the gap between what really happened and her perception of the passage of those events and that time. And to that end, there are 4 sonnets in the collection that I've titled Funhouse Mirror Sonnets. I'm going to read 2 of those for you tonight, and these first found a home in Menacing Hedge. Okay, so this is Funhouse Mirror Sonnet 3, Warp. You're twisty and all winding, warm and wet, and like a cheap pine shelf I absorb you. I absolve you of your ruin. Soak through. I'll pretend it's nutritive. I'll abet your mode and moat of destruction, pooling yourself in my center till the bottom drops out. You are my warbling siren song, breaking mirror glass. Now I'm seeing things. It's your wily curvature, all gentle arcs to jagged points, the slope of the knife, the deadly bend of the highway on-ramp, off-ramp, your smile in the treacherous lamp, light a false invitation, a love rife with warning, undertow, distortion pull. And this is Funhouse Mirror Sonnet 4, Fray. Think of horsehair, a violin bow rent and scraping a melody. This is how you call to me, asking for shreds, and now, forked, I spread myself, your fisher event, your diverging, your halved understanding of song splintered. Think evergreen needles, parted to hang your tokens, and seedless, the remnants weeping to the floor, meaning everything you plant splits like wood, the axe of your lust metal driving trunk ripples until I can't count, quantify the rot, or seek bloom. This is everything you're not, as the wholeness of forests. This love fells a plundered harvest. You, love, sap the wax. I'll read just two more tonight. The next one is called Weatherglass Prayer. Let me find the page here. And it's an adaptation on the poetic form of the ghazal. The opening image that served as the impetus for the poem was inspired by this wild late October storm in, I think, 2011, when I was in graduate school at Sarah Lawrence College, and I was driving to my family west on Route 80 and watching all of these trees that hadn't yet dropped their leaves just being overwhelmed by the weight of the snow and the frozen leaves and just kind of slouching onto the highway. So this is Weatherglass Prayer. Have you ever seen trees invert like that, weeping veins? You are my blood-letting weather, my seeping vein attempt at drainage while a perennial snowfall. I tell you, revolver, circumvention, the cheap-winged weather vane is all circles again. This is unseasonable egress, the cartilage ground given to torrent along the creeping vein. I am your fault line viaduct. Wind rent, you rendered me, winter splay. I am tired of keeping vain tectonics, so here you quake and liquefy, precipitate a vulsion. Magma blossom, tide rose, I pine in your deep spring vein. And this is the last poem I'll read tonight, and it's called Reactor. And it first appeared in Yalabusha Review. Even though I wrote it under very different circumstances, it somehow feels timely tonight. Reactor. For the anniversary of the breaking, we built a fallout shelter in the backyard. Concrete, lead, dry earth packed from the garden section of the hardware store. We cut down the trees, radiation rains from branches, and left our clothes outside the blast hatch to minimize the hot introduced, rubbed our bodies together below ground, a new shape for memory. We planted a single mustard plant in a patch of earth under the heat lamp, nurtured it like anxiety, always just a little more water than it thirsted, slowly depleting our steel thermos provisions. What happened was more like an earthquake, was more like a shaking up, but you grew up just outside 3 Mile Island where they said they tasted metal when the nuclear reactor malfunctioned, so you shivered when you saw the plumes, feathering from the donut factory on our drive out of town for morning coffee. Before our burial, a living time capsule. This is what we did to feel safe. Thank you again. I hope you feel well and feel safe.